Thinking about moving into Port Coquitlam? Where the heck is that? Well, you're in luck. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly where it is, why people are considering moving there. I'm going to walk through 5 pros and 5 cons, the good and the bad of what it would be like to live in Port Coquitlam. And make sure you stick around to the very end because I'm going to share some of my absolute favorite spots that might just tip the scales for you, or at least make you want to go visit. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is about real estate in Vancouver, subscribe below. Tap the bell for notifications to be the first to learn what's going on in the current market. My name is Megan Becker, local realtor. Myself and my team get calls every day from people looking to move to this incredible area. So whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, give me a call, text, or email, and I'm excited to tour you around the greater Vancouver area. Okay, let's zoom into the map. Where is Port Coquitlam? So it is located on the border of the Coquitlam River, Pitt River, and it's just to the east of Coquitlam and Burnaby. Let's dive into the pros first. So what's the good about living in Port Coquitlam? Well, the first one is it's a very family-friendly area. There's about 60,000 people, so it's kind of that small town vibe. So it lends itself really well towards growing families and kids. There's lots of family neighborhoods, really safe parks, lots of schools, and really great areas to raise your kids in. And Port Coquitlam does a really incredible job at hosting lots of different community events, really making residents feel like this welcome sense of community there. Pro number 2 is the affordability for houses there. So you can get a lot more square footage, you can get a lot more bang for your buck in Port Coquitlam than a lot of other areas in the greater Vancouver area. Currently, I have a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo that's 906 square feet. It's currently on the market for $650,000, which there's no way you're gonna get that in Burnaby or in Vancouver. So people are moving there because of the affordability. And you're gonna find some around that 1.3 mark. A lot of those, they need a lot of work, or you're buying for land value, but you can buy like a turnkey single family home for around maybe 135 to 1.4. Pro number 3 is the nature and the beauty that is all around Port Coquitlam. Like I mentioned, it borders on 2 rivers, so you have lots of trails, you have lots of outdoor areas. In the summertime, people will take inner tubes and just float down the Coquitlam River and just hang out on a really sunny, gorgeous afternoon. There's the Traboulet Trail, which is a 25-kilometer loop basically around Port Coquitlam, and it's really great for dogs, for walking, trail running, anything like that. There's Gates Park, which is in central Coquitlam, which is a mecca. It's a sports complex. There's everything that you can think of. There's all this racket sports, there's soccer fields, baseball, really great playgrounds, and it's right beside that Traboulet Trail and offers a wide range for anyone of any age. Number 4 is really convenient amenities. Even though it has this kind of small town vibe, you are very well connected to big box stores, Costco, Superstore, Safeway, all of those big type stores that you need for your amenities. And then there's lots of the quaint little mom and pop shops right on the main road in downtown Coquitlam. But there's tons of different restaurants, coffee shops, entertainment options that you'll have to choose from there. And the number 5 pro is it checks a lot of boxes if you are looking at a property with a personal use lens and an investment lens. And what I mean by that is I've got a lot of clients that they want to get into the market and they want to use their first property as a stepping stone. And so what I mean by that is they'll purchase that first property, they'll build up the equity, they'll save some more money, and then they want to climb the property ladder. And so after owning that property for a period of time, they'll look at purchasing another one and keep the current one as an investment and rent it out. So when you're doing that, you want to look at a property with an investment lens. What is it going to look like to potentially rent this property? Is it going to be a great rental for the area that we're looking in? And Coquitlam checks a lot of boxes for that. So number 1, when you're looking at it from an investment perspective, is that Port Coquitlam is within TransLink's 10-year plan to add a SkyTrain station. So having public transportation and being well connected is going to lend itself really well to a great investment. Number 2 is that Port Coquitlam has experienced more population growth over the last year than any other area in the Greater Vancouver area. Number 3 is that Port Coquitlam has the lowest vacancy rates right now in the entire Greater Vancouver area. And number 4 is what we're looking for rent. A studio in Port Coquitlam is going to rent for about $2,000 a month. A 1-bed is going to rent for about $2,200 a month, and a 3-bed is going to rent for about $2,900 a month. And then the 5th reason that makes POCO a really great place for an investment is that it is home to the 2nd largest rec center in all of British Columbia, which is located right in downtown central Port Coquitlam, or POCO, and it is a huge sports complex. It is fairly new and is a really great area for kids of all sorts ages. So that about wraps up all of the pros. I'm curious, put it in the comments. Do you live in Port Coquitlam, or maybe you grew up there? Put in the comments, what are some of the pros that you love about living in POCO? Okay, we're gonna move on to the cons. So con number 1 is the traffic congestion. With Port Coquitlam, you are well connected to the rest of the lower mainland. You have easy access to the Trans-Canada Highway to Lougheed, or to get over to Maple Ridge or Pitt Meadows. But during peak hours, this area, it can be very, very congested. So I know if you're living potentially in central Port Coquitlam and trying to get onto or back into Port Coquitlam off the Pitt River Road, you're gonna cross some train tracks. So there can be a huge delay there during busy times, and especially if there is a train crossing there. So there are multiple ways in and out of Port Coquitlam, but it does get really congested during busy hours. Number 2 con is the limited nightlife and entertainment options. I did mention there's a few entertainment spots. There's the Giggle Down, which is a comedy place, and there's movie theaters and things like that. But if you are maybe like a young professional and you enjoy going out with friends, POCO might not be the best option there. There's not a ton of, that whole going out scene there. So if you wanting to have a night out or go out for really fancy dinners or just some of those bigger restaurants, you're probably going to have to either take public transportation or Uber or a car share program if you don't drive. I always think of POCO as this small town spirit with big city connections. You live in the small town, it's quiet, it's quaint, but if you want that big city urban feel, you gotta travel a little bit of a distance there. And number 3 con is the flood risk. Like I mentioned, you border the Pitt River as well as the Coquitlam River, and the Coquitlam River has 2 floodplains. So it's something to be aware of. They haven't experienced a major flood in the last handful of years, but it's something to be aware of when you are looking at and considering options of where to live in. It's something I would look at with clients, and we want to look at where are those flood zones. Con number 4 is there's a limited number of high density options for living. While there are condo developments, and these are mostly located in central POCO, the majority of properties here are residential single-family homes. So this may limit options for people that are looking for that higher density urban lifestyle. The pro of that higher density is that you're usually more well connected to areas and amenities and things like that. There's a higher walkability there. So if you are looking for that, Central POCO does offer that to some extent. Central POCO is where you're going to find the majority of the low-rise condo complexes, and there's quite a bit of walkability to amenities in those areas. But as a whole, there's a limit in that higher density housing options. And con number 5 is the distance from central Vancouver as well as the North Shore. So I put this as a con because one of the attractors for living in Vancouver, a lot of people either work in Vancouver, so there is the commuting or just the attraction of going downtown, going out, or heading out and going up to Whistler or the mountains. And so POCO is, very far removed for that. So it's something to consider. The nice thing about Poco is that you're centrally located around some really great trails in that area. And then you've got Burke Mountain, which is just off of Coquitlam there. So if you are craving being in nature, you do have some options there. But it is a bit of a distance from Vancouver and from the North Shore there. So all this being said, you have to figure out what are the pros and what are the cons for you. Everybody's lifestyle is different. Everyone's goals are different. Certain pros are not going to be as relevant for other people. And that's why I always take a proactive approach when I sit down with clients, is I want to understand your goals and your motivations, and so I can match a property and an area to your lifestyle, to your goals. So I'm curious, do you live in Poco? And what are some cons that maybe you would share for people looking at considering the area? Or maybe you have lived here and moved elsewhere. I'd love for you to put it in the comments. And I know you've been sticking around to the very end for me to share some of my personal favorites about this area. So number one, I love gelato, and I love good gelato. And Mateo's Gelato in downtown Poco is one of my faves. It's this quaint, very old looking building, and there's tons of flavors, and it's absolutely delicious, especially on a warm day like today. My second favorite, like I mentioned, is that Trebuchet Trail, and it goes all the way around Poco. It's a 25-kilometer loop, and it's so nice regardless of the weather. There's something about, it rains a lot here in the greater Vancouver area, but there's something about when it's rainy and you're in the trees and you're almost in this like mystical forest, and there's something so peaceful and serene about it. That's one of the things that I love about Poco, is you feel somewhat removed from the busyness of, a downtown Vancouver. And then my third favorite is the historic downtown. So that's where Mateo's Gelato is located. So one of the things I love to do is just grab a gelato, go for a walk around there, especially on a warm day. You can head over to the trails. Everything is so very closely connected, or grab a coffee from Waves and head over and walk along the trail, or on a nice day, sit by the river. So if you live in Poco, put it in the comments. What are some things that I'm missing? What are some things that you love doing in the area that next time I'm out there, I will definitely have to check out? So anyways, thanks so much for watching. I hope you got value from this. If you're considering making a move to the greater Vancouver area, all my info is in the description box below. I'd love to have a conversation and help you understand what it would look like to move to this incredible area. And until next time, I've said gelato a lot, which got me craving, and there's a place actually 1 block away from where I live. Not as good as Mateo's, but it's a best second.